All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
Or go fly.
Microphone.
Or go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Welcome to episode 1143 of the Geek News Central podcast. It's Monday, September 5th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider or just paypal.me/geeknews. You can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Hey everyone, I got a great show lined up for you tonight. Lots to talk about. And if I can keep my show notes open to where they need to be, we're going to be talking about the iPhone 7 upcoming announcement on Wednesday. We're going to talk about a Mac genius who was not hired. We're going to talk about how to tell if you purchase a Galaxy Note 7 and to tell whether or not it will explode or not. And we're going to talk a little bit about a SpaceX conspiracy. So I want to give a warm welcome to the Hana. It's great to be back. Thank you very, very much for allowing the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, and the podcast help desk guy, Mike Dell, for being the two guest hosts while I was on travel. It was greatly appreciated. That kept fresh shows coming to you and also gave me a break, allowed me to do what I needed to do while I was out and about. But if you're brand new to the show, again, you picked a great episode to come back. This is going to be a short one because of the holiday here in the United States. Not a lot of news, but we'll get through it, and I'll give you just a little taste of the show. And we want you to visit geeknewscentral.com and see if I can get the screen up here on the right mechanism. Eye-hand coordination is lacking tonight. But anyway, yeah, check Geek News Central out at geeknewscentral.com. That way you'll be able to get subscribed to the show. It's real easy right there on the second column of the website. All you got to do is pick your poison. iTunes via Android, one of the 13 apps that you can one-click subscribe on. You can go old school and get the show by email. You can get the show on Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or via an RSS feed. Really, there's a dozen ways to stay connected with the show, and we want you to do so. Of course, visit again the site on a daily basis to check out all the great content. If you have comments for me, you can email me here directly, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter @geeknews. Be part of our Slack group. Drop me an email and say, hey, I want to join the Slack group. So I'll add you to that. Definitely get involved. Having some nice chit-chats in there. Very light traffic. Nothing that's going to take up too much of your time. So ask to join the Slack channel by dropping me an email. Of course, you can always follow me on Facebook or on Google Plus just by searching for Todd Cochran. You can watch the show on the Roku via the Tech Podcast channel, on the Apple TV via the Geek News Central audio or video feed. You can listen on the Amazon Echo by telling Alexa to play the latest edition of the show. You can listen on Stitcher. You can watch or listen on Blueberry. Really, dozens of ways to get the show. Come to the website directly. That's another way to do it, of course. Of course, we don't want to forget our partner shows. Our partner shows here are very, very important to us. All the team members that are involved. We've got the new media show that Rob Greenlee and I do, the Pro Gear site that the writers take care of. They got the Gadget Professor site with Mr. Don Bain. We've got Health Tech Weekly with Mr. Jamie Davis. We've got No Better Than Average with Jacob and Jeff. So definitely check that out. And, of course, my brand new show, Podcast Legends, is one where I'm interviewing the early folks in podcasting. So if you've been around for a while, you will maybe have heard some of these names: Tim Borkin, Brian Ibbett, Michael Butler, Gary Leland. All those folks are involved. And as a matter of fact, I interviewed Gary this afternoon for the show, and that episode just popped here a couple hours ago. So anyway, that's how you stay connected with all the family and all the team of shows that we do here at Geek News Central. So definitely get subscribed to all of them, and definitely appreciate it if you do. Okay, so anyway, this show, of course, is sponsored in part by our good friends at GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy's been here from just almost the beginning, July of 2005, and bringing great deals to the Ohana, and our September deals continue with a lot of the same offers that we've had, with 30% off on new products, 99cent.coms. You can get a 30-day trial of Website Builder with some consulting. You can get a $1 a month economy hosting for the first 12 months for essentially $12, or a $1 a month managed WordPress hosting, again, for the first year. All those come with a free domain. All the promo codes are on the website. You can either go shopping and come get the promo codes, or you can come to the website and click on the promo code and lock in your savings. We want to thank GoDaddy for their ongoing support of the show. And I will mention to the Ohana, I got the August numbers. And again, another banner month. Huge thank you for your ongoing support of the show. It's greatly appreciated, and your ongoing support of the sponsor is just phenomenal. And as we move into September, if you're on the fence, it's starting to get cooler in some of those areas that you are, so you're going to be spending a little more time in the house. Many of you are going to be starting to rake leaves here soon, but what you should really consider is starting your own blog, starting your own podcast, putting up a site with family pictures. There's lots of things you can do, and with the huge number of top-level domains that are available today, there's a domain for you out there. You'll be able to find it. Check out those .family domains. Many of those are probably gone on the high-level surnames, but you can play around with them a little bit to see what you can find. You get a .family domain name still even today. Okay, so again, thanks to GoDaddy for being a sponsor here, and geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy is the page that you need to go to. All right, let me get my notes here. Let's see what else I've got in my minor little stack. Again, a thank you to Mike Dell and Don Bain for stepping in for me last week. Greatly appreciated. It really is. It makes it easier when trying to get a bunch of stuff done and keep a show pumping to you guys, and not having to worry about lugging gear. What did you think? What did you think of the two shows? Love to hear your feedback on that. And I'll, of course, forward that to Mike and Don. But make sure you subscribe to their shows, too, of course. We want you to do that. But really excited about this Podcast Legends show I told you about here a few minutes ago. It's doing very well. Largely being listened to by podcasters, obviously. But the numbers have just skyrocketed, so I think it's going to be a great success. And the hard part is just getting people scheduled to be on. Doing the show is easy. I just talk to my friends. These are people I've known for many, many years, and just get the details, get that history down. So I'm very excited about that. Now, on a sadder note, my wife's mother is in bad shape. We've, as I've told the Ohana before, you guys knew we've been kind of on the clock here, and it's getting closer. So we're kind of on pins and needles here, determining what's going to happen, how we're going to handle everything. So with that said, I've got a bunch of travel that I'm scheduled to do. All that will probably collapse, but for now, it still looks like I will be on the East Coast the week of the 19th of September. And then I'll probably be back on the East Coast again, starting around October 5th for 6-7 days, something to that effect. I think that maybe one more trip. I may have something going on in Denver. Haven't locked that in yet, but shows will continue. If I travel on show days, there'll be no shows those days, but otherwise there'll be a show. So don't worry, audio only on travel time. If we do end up punching out of here for a funeral, whatever, no shows during that period. I'll see about finding someone to step in again as well. But we'll try to get some variety of folks to come in as with all potential. But anyway, that's what's going on. We're kind of sitting here kind of on pins and needles at this point. But the main thing was my wife was able to get back and with my youngest son and be able to see her mom when she was in a good shape and able to get around and do some things. But we're basically laid up in the hospital at this point with the X-rays not looking positive. So anyway, that's what's happening here. Other than that, we're off to the races here for the show tonight. I've got a good stack of stuff for you to talk about. Even though it's a holiday, I can't believe it. I was really kind of freaking out because I didn't know what would be available today, but there's enough content to get through. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Hey, Mike, how are you? Mike from Quincy? I think so. Rita, hello, Rita, and Michael Ray as well. So everyone, thanks for being on Facebook, and of course we're live on YouTube as well tonight. So looks like we're having a little buffering issue. So hopefully that doesn't take too much impact. Well, I can see one of my streams died, so we'll just set down the live stream. All right. Maybe I didn't get all the network shut off. Maybe I got kids playing games. That's probably what's going on. Okay, so iPhone 7, more predictions. They say it's going to support waterproofing. And potentially, I don't think this comes as any surprise, but a 12-megapixel camera. And so that's kind of the only additional things that we've heard that essentially was beyond what we've already talked about many times already. Apple always throws us a curveball, so we'll keep an eye on. But Wednesday's the day. So if you want to watch the live event, you can go to The Verge, you can go to CNET. There's going to be a huge... Apple's even going to be streaming the event, so you'll probably be able to go to the Apple website. And I'll have the link up on that. It's Apple Events, September. So they'll be up streaming. So I like the live blogging by the folks at The Verge. They seem to do a real good job. So that's probably where I'll be watching during the event. But we'll see what the team has to announce here in a few days. But imagine you have worked at Apple. Imagine you were the engineer that designed the transition to Intel from ARM, I believe, not to ARM. What was the chips that Intel was using before? But anyway, when matter of fact, when I bought got my first Mac Pro, was the first Mac with Intel chip. So this guy was basically the engineer that was involved. That he retired from Google a few years ago, and he went and applied for a job to work at the Genius Bar. And he went through the interview process, and they never called him back. So, this esteemed engineer, again, who got macOS running on Intel processors, has been out of the business for about 8 years. He's 54, and it was nice to be able to retire on that early, right? And so he was just looking for a part-time gig. Well, he says he was by far the youngest person applying for the job. And he kind of feels that he may have not been hired because of his age. And that's troubling. He obviously very, very qualified. If anyone was qualified, he would be. And especially to work the Genius Bar. The guy's, I'm sure he's got the inside scoop on how these Macs work. But anyway, he just basically said that, age discrimination is alive and well in this country. And he feels that that's probably why he was rejected. It was because of his age, definitely not his technical ability. But it's a challenge. I'm 52. And you look at the workforce is typically very, very young. They're cheaper. It doesn't cost as much for healthcare, the whole 9 yards. So when you hit that magic 50 number, it becomes much, much tougher out there in the workplace, especially if you're working in the tech space. They don't think that the majority of older people can hang, or they're, going to be a spoiler at their work because you're going to be like their parent or something to that effect. So for those of you that are younger and are in a situation now where, you got a great job, or maybe you've got some influence on people getting hired, it might be, something to think about for you down the road is someone comes in that's a little bit older, has some experience. I tell you, I would, we're going to be looking for some more people in our Columbus office in the near future, and specifically in the sales and marketing side. And I'm definitely going to look at folks that are older and just have that grind experience. And you're sitting there, won't take no for an answer, or, be able to get the job done. I'm not saying that young people aren't, but if I know, someone that's a little older, a little hungry, has got contacts already, sounds like a winner to me. But anyway, this legendary Apple engineer was rejected for a Genius Bar job. A little bit of science news. Remember that that European Space Agency lander that was part of the Rosetta mission? It's called Philae, Philae. They landed and then they bounced. Well, they found it. And boy, oh boy, they couldn't have bounced into a worse position. But they've actually got a picture of this thing. And stuck in the shadow, as it was expected. But boy, oh boy, I feel sorry for him. It's so close, but yet so far. But, Rosetta is little by little descending, and we'll be landing on the same comet here in the coming weeks. So we'll, I believe in November, what do they say is the date? Do they tell the date when Rosetta's going to land? September 30th, they're going to crash the probe. But they're doing a very gentle landing, so I don't know if they're necessarily crashing. I think they're trying to set it down softly. So we will see as we get closer to the date how they do with the actual probe. All right, there's a good article talking about apps utilization. I know this weekend, we were supposed to have, we had 2 hurricanes. So I came home on Thursday, and the first hurricane had already went south of the Big Island. And then this other hurricane, Lester, was approaching the north side of the island, and kept on inching a little bit further out. And really, we had on Saturday, yesterday, maybe an inch of rain over an hour, and that's it. That's all the weather we got. So I was on the Weather Underground and watching the weather app a lot, just trying to figure out what this thing was going to do. Turned out to be a completely non-event, hardly any wind. So knock on wood, and it's better than shingles flying off the roof, right? So, folks in the East Coast and, the panhandle of Florida, they didn't have it so easy over the weekend. We had another near miss, and it was good. But according to the study, there is a huge amount of time, nearly half the time being spent online. My phone is ringing. Hang on. Okay, I don't know who this is. 800 numbers calling me. That's odd. So, nearly half of the time spent online right now is being done by, but through apps instead of browsers and so forth. So, I don't know if I'm spending half my time online in apps. I still spend a lot of time in front of my desk, but just by watching people, it's probably about right. So, according to ComScore, as of July, smartphone apps account for 50% of U.S. users' time online for the first time ever, and that's pretty amazing if you really break that out and think about it. So, if you don't have an app, you're missing out on a lot. Okay, and the Galaxy 7 Note, of course, they've been recalled. and if you haven't heard, and if you had to be under a rock to have not heard, Samsung issued a global recall of the Galaxy Note 7. As many as 2.5 million units will be replaced in the coming weeks, after Samsung identified at least 35 cases where the faulty battery could have caused explosions. The company is replacing existing Galaxy 7 Note units free of charge, which means you should really return yours now, even if you do have to wait a few more weeks for a replacement. I know it's hard, right? Because let's say you're using it for your phone. If you'd rather live on the edge, though, a new report reveals one way you could check whether your Galaxy 7 Note contains potentially faulty battery packs. Again, it's better just to return the receiver. But the Galaxy Note 7 is going to continue in some markets because the batteries, because some of the batteries came from a Chinese supplier, ATL. Samsung subsidiary SDI supplied 70% of the batteries to the phone, and Samsung identified those batteries as posing risk. The Chinese batteries were fine. ATL batteries are supposedly safe and will be found in all Galaxy Note 7 units going forward, including the ones that replace older phones. How can you tell what type of battery you have in your Galaxy Note 7? One way to do is to crack open the device and look at the information on the battery, but that's not real easy to do on this particular device. The Phone Arena says that it's enough to look at the back of the handset or head to the phone info section of the settings app and find the desired information. It'll actually tell you that as well. So if you have an ATL battery in your Samsung Galaxy Note 7, you have an ATL battery, you're safe. If you got one of the Korean ones from KDI, SDI, you're not safe, okay? In the UK, they have this thing called working tax credits. And I'm not very familiar with what this gives a British taxpayer, but it appears that it's worth about £2,000 in tax credits per year. A British parenting blogger has said she's been denied working tax credits because she's been unable to prove her working hours. And this is and I kind of can relate to this. This young lady says that she's been turned down despite submitting more than 100 documents, including bank statements, contracts, and invoices. She said maintaining her website and social media took hours, and she's required to work up to 16 hours a week to get these tax credits. But she worked around, basically she had her baby at home and worked and, took care of the baby, worked, many moms do that. But apparently, according to the HMRC, working regular hours is essential for claiming the benefit. And a single parent, the young lady has to work at least 16 hours per week to be eligible for working tax credits, which up to £2,010 per year. Self-employed people who do not work regularly are not able to apply the slight adds. But, I've looked at the hours that I put in, and, it's, sure, I may be 2 or 3 hours I'm not at my desk, or I have to run and do something, but I'm putting in between 4 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock at night. I am putting in lots of hours. I'm sure way this young woman is too with her blog. It's almost a 24/7 type thing versus a 9 to 5. And but they're not going to give her the credits. Also, it appears that because she didn't have the income was kind of fluctuating, that was part of it too. But it just goes to show you that non-traditional work is definitely being impacted in some countries, especially in the UK. Here in Hawaii, the rule, because I'm a self-employed, is that if I work X number of hours, I have to provide myself health care. It's mandatory, but because I have my military requirement, I can waive it. Same thing goes with my workman's comp time, how much I get. I have a workman's comp classification for sitting at this desk, and it's all based upon the number of hours and everything else. So even here, I have to deal with the paperwork based upon basically the total number of hours that I'm booking a week, and it's typically a lot. But they just have these strange rules here and it's more designed for people who are 9 to 5 in an office versus 9 to 5 in a home office. Apple Music is now cheaper than Spotify. Just in time for the launch of iPhone 7, Apple's introduced a new 12-month Apple Music subscription gift card for $99. That brings the monthly cost down to $825. That's an $18% discount off the standard $9.99 monthly cost, making the service more affordable than its top rival Spotify. All in all, you'll end up saving about $20 annually by purchasing a gift card rather than subscribing through the app. So it's a no-brainer if you're committed to Apple Music. So they're putting a little heat to the Spotify folks. And I haven't used Apple Music. Any of you using it? How do you like it? Love to hear your feedback on it. Mostly, if I want to do music, I'm usually on Pandora and just playing playlist. Duke Nukem. If you've been around any time since the modern computer has come out, you'll know what Duke Nukem is. But Duke Nukem 3D re-release adds new levels from the original team. You game just like his 1996 with the Duke Nukem 3D 20th anniversary. And so they're bringing back the original again in a special 20th anniversary edition world tour that packs in 8 new levels, a ton of freshly recorded voices, and modest graphics update. Even better, this new content was designed by much of the 1996 classics original team. So if you're a Duke Nukem fan, there you go. It's shortly to be available. Now, if you're like me, having had multiple computers over the years, you always end up with all kinds of dongles, especially using Macs. And I do both PC and Mac. And was in Vegas, I had both the PC and a Mac. I was using both. But Apple has come out in its lifetime 25 different dongles. Thunderbolt to FireWire, USB to Ethernet, HDMI to DVI, 30-pin to digital AV adapter, 30-pin to VGA, iPhone to TTY adapter, Thunderbolt to Gigabit. So you get my drift here, right? But 30 different adapters. I'm about adaptered out on Mac. I really am. And I've got probably one of each. It is annoying. And it's one good thing about a PC. I don't ever have to worry about having a dongle. I just plug my stuff in. That is one thing that by far is better on PCs than Macs. And, I keep getting review units for docking stations, really targeted mostly for Mac folks, because you guys are so screwed. And when if you're trying to travel with your laptop and have a desktop, you need a port. It's just crazy. So anyway, I'll have this link up if you're curious to take a trip down memory lane of all the different dongles that were out there. John McAfee, you gotta love this guy. He's always in the news. He's suing Intel for the right to use his own name. Of course, McAfee. Intel owns the McAfee brand. All of their trademarks, all of their goodwill, all of their patents, everything. So the lawsuit comes after McAfee joined an online gaming company called MGT Capital Investments as CEO and chairman in May and planned to rename the company John McAfee Global Technologies Incorporated. Intel saying, no, you cannot do that. If you do that, you will infringe. So in a complaint to the New York District Court, MGT and McAfee argue that at no point in the agreement did McAfee assign the rights to his personal name or agree to restrict his right to do business using his own name, and that the agreement with Intel did not contain any non-compete provisions of any kind. So we will see what happens here. But we know that Intel's already depreciated the McAfee brand, and they begin marketing it as Intel Security. So what's the problem? Well, according to Bloomberg, the chip maker is now trying to sell the company, but will use the McAfee mark to help make it more valuable to buyers. So it'd be interesting to see if he gets to use his name in his company's name. Seems like he'd be allowed to. All right, I don't know if I haven't talked about this yet. So SpaceX, boom, yes, boom, they blew one up on the pad. And if you watch my Facebook post, I put up a link. And either it was a bird or a UFO that flew behind the rocket moments before it exploded. It could have been a drone, but everyone's saying it's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird. But I watched the video many times, and it was going behind. And if the camera's far enough back, I don't know if a bird could go that fast. It could have been a drone. But yes, the conspiracy theorists are alive and well in saying that the SpaceX rocket may have got blown up on the pad because of a UFO. But at the same time, that launch, not only did it blow up Facebook's satellite, the company that the Amos 6 satellite that Facebook was partnering with was owned by Spacecom. And they're saying, hey, we're going to lose between $30 and $123 million in equity over this. I don't know if they had insurance, but they want SpaceX to pony up some cash. They say, you blew my satellite up. $50 million, please, in credits, or launch it for free the next when you have your problems figured out. And SpaceX currently has about 70 missions on the manifest that are valued at nearly $10 billion, so they can afford it. But they just can't keep blowing up stuff on the pad. Or initial launch. I know space is hard, but they got to get their act together here. But they've got a whole bunch of launches scheduled down the pike here, and who knows if this is going to slow things up. But they definitely had a problem. Something went sideways, and she went kerboom. But yes, blame it on a UFO. Hey, a Russian YouTuber, he's going to jail. Yes, he is. Not for his YouTube stuff. He's been in prison for playing Pokemon Go in church. So this Russian YouTuber has been in prison, could be looking at some serious jail time after catching a pollywog in a church and posting footage of it online. As the Guardian reports, Ruslan Silvosky video has been viewed 900,000 times since it was posted on August 11th, and begins with him addressing news reports warning Pokemon players that their hobby could get them locked up if they play the game in church. After the video was posted to YouTube, police began investigating him, whose channels reached 300,000 subscribers in a history of criticizing the Russian church. In a statement released Saturday, the investigation committee said the 20-year-old has been charged with inciting hatred and offending religious sensibilities and would be detained for 2 months, noting that the penalty could be as high as 5 years in prison. As the Guardian Verges also noted, the statutes this individual has allegedly violated was the same Article 282 of the Russian Criminal Code that landed members of the Russian punk band Pussy Riot in jail for several years back in 2012. So if you go to Russia, don't play Pokemon Go. They already warned them. They already warned them it was going on. And a total irony here, and a story of total irony. Warner Brothers flagged its own website as a piracy portal. They've vigorously been trying to prevent pirated content from showing up in search results, but in doing so, the movie studio shot itself in its foot. Recently, Warner asked Google to take down several of its own pages, claiming they are copyright infringing. Oh, man. So their own bot and their anti-piracy partner, Vobel, asked Google to censor their own URLs. This is just too funny. It really is. It was from the official Warner page of the 2008 Batman movie The Dark Knight was one of the links. And, of course, they asked, they tried to get Amazon link to the actual movie being sold on Amazon. They tried to take that down. It just goes, the list goes on, the absolute stupidity here that they've done. So 3 movies involved, Dark Knight, The Matrix, and The Lucky One. And they asked them to remove a bunch of sites that were completely okay. So I hope it cost them a lot of money when they did that. I really do. It's crazy. All right, Linux users. Adobe has decided to support Flash Player on Linux again. Adobe announced its plans to start supporting Adobe Flash for Linux 4 years after it has abandoned Flash on Linux. I guess they're figuring that's the only place they're going to be able to get utilization because everywhere else Flash is going away. So they're going to resume support of the NP API Flash Player plugin on Linux. It will not stop providing security updates in 2017 as previously announced. In the past, they communicated the NP API Linux release would stop in 2017. That's no longer the case. A new beta of NP API plugin is made available for download. While it won't work in apps that have depreciated or removed NP API plugin, like Google Chrome, it should play nice in Mozilla Firefox and other apps. So, wow. Adobe says that it's moving the NP API Linux Flash Player plugin forward and in sync with other modern releases branch to improve security and provide additional mitigation to the Linux committee. So I think it's about the money. I really think it is. I think they know the days of Flash are gone, so they're going to dump this back on Linux users. A Linux user, I'd love to hear you weigh in on this. I really, really would, to see what you have to say about it. Okay, last couple articles tonight. Again, I told you it was going to be a short night. NASA's InSight landers have been approved for 2018 Mars launch. So, doesn't look like this is going to be a rover. It's just going to land and do stuff. It's got a drill to put down a heat flow probe. And, wow. So what is this going to be designed for? What are they going to do here? They want to find out. Oh, no. Doesn't tell what they've had some problems with this thing. This thing's huge. On paper, it doesn't look that big, but it's a monster. Let me bring it up here so you guys can, those of you that are watching, can see it. You begin to wonder if at some point we're going to start taking a look for landing sites and surveying landing sites for the future. But I don't know if you guys can see this thing or not, but it's massive. It really, really is. But anyway, they're going to send this thing to Mars in 2018. So, cool deal. All right, back to the stack. Last couple of articles here. NASA's released breathtaking new Jupiter images, and they are simply incredible. Courtesy of the Juno probe, these are of the poles, and it does not look anything like anything you've ever seen of a planet. It is awesome. So I'll let you play the video on the coasttocoast.com website. At the same time, very, very cool video in Peru. A UFO researcher is trumpeting an incredible video which he says captures an alien, yes, an alien, appearing at a gas station and being chased away by witnesses. When you see the video, it is a little weird. Of course, it's a lot farther away than to make a call, but it is a little bit odd. But it also could have been a midget, that's probably not the correct word to use anymore, right? A small person, a little person, it could have been, but it very, 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 very strange. So I'll have that link up in the show notes. And finally tonight, the mysterious single we talked about here. that the Russians said was coming from deep space. Well, it's revealed to be from Earth. So, SETI scientists got a little excited, and they traced it back to Earth. So, disappointing. We haven't found ET yet. No surprise there. If you saw one of my Facebooks today, posts today, we're just all in a computer simulation. That's all we're in, right? At this point. Okay, so when was the last time I did a show? Let me go back and see what has come in from email. So today is the 5th. Wow. It's been a while. So I think this came in before I left. No, this was not for the show. All right, cool. Don't think there was an email. No, you guys have left me alone, so it's time to get busy. Drop me a comment about the show. We'll be with a full show back on Thursday. As obviously the holiday here there's not a lot of content out, so I'll be kicking it with a full hour and 10 minutes on the next podcast, or an hour and 15, whatever it takes. But next 3 shows, at least for sure, are going to be here in Honolulu in the studio. I look forward to bringing those to you. I've got to go through, too, and on the next show, we'll talk about the insiders and the donations we've been getting. I definitely appreciate the contributions coming into the show. It's greatly appreciated. Those of you that have decided to become an insider, we'll go through all those. And those of you that have been contributing at the higher levels, keep me honest here, and drop me a line if you hit the certain contribution plateaus. I'll be definitely going through and doing auditing too, but just keep me honest if you've hit the point where you've hit $1,000 on donations or wherever you may be in the stack, because we definitely want to make sure that you get your awards and stuff when we hit those levels. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. And geeknews@gmail.com is the place to drop a line. Short show, obviously, because of the holiday, but it's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast tonight. Everyone take care. We'll see you back here on Thursday. Everyone take care. Aloha.